Welcome back to your own digital learning station, ICSE Students Coaching. Hello students, today we are going to learn about Julius Caesar, the one-act play as written by William Shakespeare, the world-renowned poet and author of English literature. In this video, we'll learn about all acts and scenes which will make you completely exam ready. If you watch the complete video, then there is no doubt that in this one short video, you'll learn everything which will make you totally confident and exam ready. So let's begin Julius Caesar, all acts and scenes as written by William Shakespeare. Julius Caesar Act 1 Scene 1 begins in a street in Rome where we can see Flavius and Verulus, the two government officials and the supporters of Pompey, are thrashing the people and telling them to go back home and not to celebrate Caesar's victory over Pompey. Act 1 Scene 2 begins in a public place. It is the same day when Caesar attends the traditional race at the festival of Lupercal and receives a warning from a soothsayer who told him to beware of the Ides of March. Act 1 Scene 3 begins in a street in Rome where Cassius, Casca, and Cinna are planning to take the support of Brutus and to convince him to go against Caesar. Act 2 has 4 scenes. Act 2 Scene 1 takes place just before the dawn of 15th March where we can see Brutus in uncontained mood and he received an anonymous letter where he is urged to go against Caesar and to act on behalf of the Romans. Act 2 Scene 2 takes place in Caesar's house where Calpurnia had seen a nightmare and urged Caesar, her husband, to stay at home and not to go to the capital. Act 2, Scene 3 takes place in a street near capital where the supporter of Caesar, the Artemidorus, is being awaiting with a letter to give to Caesar which will warn him against the conspirators at the capital. Act 2, Scene 4 takes place in another part of the same street and it is just before the house of Brutus where the wife of Brutus, Portia, is sending Lucius at the capital to get the news of her husband Brutus. Now Act 3 Scene 1 takes place in Rome before the capital, the Senate sitting above. Here we can see Caesar is being killed brutally by the conspirators. Mark Antonio also reached at the spot, went back his home, then came again at the spot and plans against the conspirators to demolish them into pieces. Next, Act 3, Scene 2 takes place in the Forum. Here Brutus speaks before a group of citizens. Then Brutus leaves and Antonio speaks to his citizens. Next, Act 3, Scene 3. It is occurring in a street in Rome where the famous Roman poet Cinna is present. Cinna is facing the anger of the Roman mob and he is slain by the Romans as thinking the murderer of Caesar. Then the mob rush through the city after the true killers of Caesar. Act 4 Scene 1 takes place in a house in Rome where we can see Antonio, Octavius and Lepidus are discussing about the list of the people who will be executed later. Act 4 Scene 2 takes place in a camp near Syrtis. This is just before Brutus' tent where we can see Brutus and Cassius are discussing about the maltreatment of each other. Next we have Act 3. In Act 3 this occurs in front of Brutus' tent where we can see Brutus and Cassius argue about the treatment of each other. Here Brutus is also getting the news of Portia's death. Next, Act 5, Scene 1. Act 5, Scene 1 takes place in the plains of Philippi, where we can see the army of Antony and Octavius and the army of Brutus and Cassius arrive at the field of the battle. Act 5, Scene 2 takes place in the plains of the Philippi. This is the battlefield, where the two groups of the enemies are fighting back. Here, Brutus gives Messala the instructions for the army to attack Octavius' force. Next, Act 5, Scene 3. This is another part of the battlefield, where Cassius believes that Titus has been captured by the enemy, so he asks Pindarus to stab him. Next, we have Act 5, Scene 4. It is the another part of the battle where we can see the young Cato is killed in the battle, and Lucilius, pretending to be Brutus, is being captured by the enemy. Now, Act 5, Scene 5, the last scene of Julius Caesar, it is representing another part of the battle where we can see that Brutus is also slain, and Antonio eulogizes Brutus as a noble Roman, and Octavius agrees to give him an honorable burial. So with this, the interplay ends. We hope that you have understood everything about Julius Caesar. Just like, subscribe and share the video so that it becomes a helpful, interest-gaining thing for all of us to provide you more helpful content. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day ahead. Goodbye.